What is power building and why is it so effective? Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys a little bit about this. All right, Cliff Notes, power building is essentially combining powerlifting training with bodybuilding training, with the majority of it being bodybuilding training for the purpose of getting big, jacked, aesthetic, and strong all at the same time. So when I say that though, I do want to preface that with there is very, very little of what we would think of as powerlifting in a program like this because there doesn't need to be. I think a lot of people, when they hear that, they then assume, oh, it's going to be half powerlifting. But what do we know based upon research? What do we know based upon some of the strongest powerlifters in the world long-term historically is that it's just not necessary to do large amounts of really heavy work in order to maximize your strength. And I know that may sound like a contradiction for a lot of people, but really muscle mass is where we get most of our strength potential. Okay, so even they pointed out, let's say Westside Barbell, right? Strongest gym in the world. Louis Simmons coached over 100 world record holders in powerlifting. They went on to coach people in all these other sports and apply his same principles to them. High-level sprinters, MMA fighters, boxers, everybody, right? Those same concepts were then taken to Joe DeFranco's gym, where he even coached tons and tons of people to get into the NFL using the same training methods. And even Louis Simmons said, look, 70% of our training is bodybuilding. Okay, 70% of it. And in his gym, it was 5% max effort, 25% speed work, and then 70% just straight hypertrophy training. So power building is really a simple version of that same concept, really. It's really 5 to 10% powerlifting and then 90 to 95% bodybuilding. And here's why. Because getting jacked in general will improve your strength potential. And it only takes a few sets of heavy work every week to actually actualize that potential and to maximize it. And so that can be done through a couple of ways. Now, the way I'm using here throughout this video, just from some of the clips, I'm just taking the traditional lifts. I do a heavy single, sometimes heavy double or triple on that lift once a week. So I just do that with the classic big three. You could take this same idea, do the same thing that they did for Conjugate at Westside and rotate lifts, right? You could go through the week, you could start your workout with some max effort lifts with random big lifts, variations of the lift. So what do I mean by that? Yeah, instead of a flat bench, you could bench on a floor press, a pen press, an incline bench, a closed grip bench, right? All these different variations. Squats, you could do, you don't have to do back squat, you could do box squat. You could do pen squats, you could do squats with different bars, bands, chains, whatever you want to do. Deadlift, same idea. You can max on good mornings on this system. A lot of people do. Even on the conjugate type system. So again, you can apply those ideas to this style of training. They can be applied to it. The main thing is that you need some heavy max effort work to where you hit weights that are 90% or higher of your true 1 rep max every single week. Okay? But that would only comprise about 5 to 10% of your training. Okay? And that's going to help you with the rest of it. It's going to help with your strength. It's going to help you with efficient training, efficiently recruiting upper threshold muscle fibers, because we know based on data we've seen that doing some heavy singles, even just one heavy single before a workout, seems to enhance performance and motor unit recruitment on even your rep work afterwards. Okay, so it brings a lot to the table. Like it could potentially, hypothetically, enhance your muscle gains. Plus, being stronger is always a good thing there. So then what would you do with the rest of the workout? Split type routines. It could be a 3-day, a 4-day, a 5-day. I coach people on all of those. I currently do 5. But I have people who train in this style who do 3 days a week on like a push-pull legs. And then, of course, really a squat, bench, deadlift day in a lot of ways. And they're vastly successful. But any of them is the same. So then we come in and we train like a bodybuilder. Now, a lot of that can still be pretty heavy work. I mean, you could come in and do triples on some of these other lifts behind. I like to. You could do 5, 6s, but then you're going to have some stuff that's up around that 8 to 12 rep range also. So here's the idea. Then you come behind it and you say, I'm going to just build everything up. I did this little bit of heavy work. Now we're going to come in and train everything. And then you're going to come in and you're going to do that with big movements, pull-ups, leg presses, whatever you need to do, incline benching, right? Take all these other big compounds, build everything. Now use this for base building. Then you come through and say, what got missed? And then you isolate it. Okay? Example like you see there. Doing some tricep extensions because the long head of the triceps didn't get enough work. You might have saw me through some of this, doing some flat bench, doing some incline, which does help build triceps. But the long head of the triceps get neglected. Maybe your side delts are getting neglected from the big lifts you're doing. Your rear delts, your calves, your forearms, your neck, whatever. You come through behind it and say, what didn't get worked enough? Right? From the max lifts, the big heavy lifts, then from all the compound work. And then you come in and you literally do an isolation movement for everything that didn't get maximized. Okay? Whether it's your hamstrings or your rear delts or your biceps. Right? Come through and do it. Like in my case, these days I do isolation work for biceps, triceps, forearms, my neck, my calves, okay, all those things. Come in and isolate them. And it doesn't take a lot of work. Like my workouts are 45 minutes or so, an hour tops. Some of them are only 30 minutes. Right? So the whole principle behind this, getting big and strong, is you come in and do a very small amount of very heavy lifting, probably on the classic lifts, but if not, other big movements, right? You maximize your strength and neural drive with just a few sets. I'm talking 3, 4, 5 sets a week, tops. And that's for all your heavy work. That's not per exercise, that's total. Then you come through and you build everything with big compound movements. And then finish everything off with isolation. In an efficient manner, come in and isolate anything that still needs the extra work. And for most of you, things like arms and some shoulders are probably going to be on that list. I'd say particularly things like arms. Right? And that is the whole principle, is combining these ideas together to say, I'm going to get as jacked and aesthetic and everything as I possibly can, but then we're also going to get real strong. We're going to take all that muscle we're gaining and we are going to make sure that it's not non-functional in any way. We're going to get strong. We're going to maximize our power, our strength, and our force production with just a little tiny bit of extra work. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.